Now we will talk about crafting the thesis. Remember that all thesis statements have certain common elements. That means that many elements of thesis statements remain the same. However, the elements of the thesis statement can change depending on the type of essay you're writing. Some of the characteristics that all thesis statements have are the following. They are all one sentence. They will always be the last sentence in the introduction. They will always express the main idea of the essay, and they will never be formulaic. Thesis statements start to look different depending on the type of essay you are writing. Remember, the essay type determines the exact elements that will appear within your thesis statement. Remember that formulaic thesis statements limit what you can write about in your essay. If you create a formulaic thesis statement that lists your topics, you can only write about those topics. Make sure your thesis statement is not formulaic. The main essay types that we will discuss thesis statements for are the informative expository essay, the literary analysis essay, the persuasive or argumentative essay, and the narrative essay. Let's start with the informative expository essay thesis statement. Remember that informative essays explain something or inform the reader about a certain idea or issue. You will not be persuading in this type of essay. Your job is simply to inform or explain. Review the sample thesis statements for the informative essay below. Also, note that the last thesis statement is a formulaic thesis statement. You do not want to create a formulaic thesis statement. Now, let's talk about the literary analysis essay thesis statement. Any type of analysis essay explores a particular topic and evaluates how the elements of the writer's interpretation work together for a common idea. So in a literary analysis essay, the writer will be interpreting the text in some way, looking at figurative language, characters, theme, and analyzing why they are important. Remember to always include the title and author of the text when you are writing a literary analysis thesis statement. Review the sample literary analysis essay thesis statements below. Again, you do not want to write a formulaic thesis statement, so make sure to review the last thesis statement to see what not to do. Let's move into the persuasive or argumentative essay thesis statements. An argumentative essay requires that a writer makes a claim about an issue and then supports that claim with evidence. These claims can be an opinion, a proposal, an evaluation, a cause and effect relationship, or an interpretation of events, as long as you are creating some type of argument. Review the sample persuasive or argumentative essay thesis statements below. Make sure that you look at the last one again to see how you should not be crafting your thesis. Remember, no formulaic thesis statements. And finally, let's look at the narrative essay thesis statement. These thesis statements will come into play when you begin writing college essays. Narrative essays are personal essays, so these are the only essays where you will use first or second person personal pronouns like I, me, my, you, and us. Remember that narrative essay thesis statements should still give a personal essay a main focus. All paragraphs should relate to that main focus of the thesis statement to create organization. Now let's review the sample narrative essay thesis statements below. We have again included an example of how you should not write a thesis statement. No formulaic thesis statements. Now, take your time and go through the main points we've discussed about crafting the different types of thesis statements. Also, make sure to closely review the example thesis statements for each type of essay. You are ready to craft your thesis statement.